All right. Well, it's always hard to present to your friends, and that always makes me nervous. But I, in the last 8 months or so, have gone from full-time with a side hustle to applying what I've been working on for the last 6 or 7 years, turning it into a startup. And I'm also very grateful to have a client on the call. So we have a case study as well. Thank you, Jason Kramer, for all your support, and it's been great to work with you. Thank you for joining. I do content strategy and have developed a way, after working in both the brand side and the agency side, to approach content marketing, content publishing as a consulting, training and development, and media endeavor. The idea being that we have a process to help companies develop a strategy and get their team on board and get everybody going in the right direction, and then surround them with the resources they need to fill the gaps. And you'll see the importance of that here as I speak. The central concept that I want to talk to you about is something that I discovered about 6 years ago, and it's called a content hub. And the idea is to develop deep expertise in your content and make it available for your customers in an entertaining and educational format, so that if a person in the accounts payable space was told to go explore automation by their CFO, they'd find a tremendous resource that helps them do their job. That's really the kind of perspective you want to have with developing a content hub. And it's a hub and spoke model where it's structured for Google as well as for human beings. So I'm going to go into the why of content hubs, who uses them, what they are, and how to go about developing it using a strategy. But the key point about Content Hub is it's got to be built and tightly aligned with the vision, mission, values, and strategies of the company that's doing it. And a couple examples, in 2014, 2015, I worked on a project for Kodak called Chief Packaging Officer. Now, this was a project that within a year, the division we worked for was sold. And one of the negotiating points in the M&A deal was the acquiring company wanted to acquire a chief packaging officer, because over the course of a year, we developed 800 leads, 57 sales qualified leads for $1 million product. So there was $57 million in the pipeline, but more than that, because of the editorial strategy, we had developed a thought leadership perspective in the packaging space. Another example is a site called Untapped that I produced working with an agency, and I still am in partnership with this firm. The strategy that we developed was to put a blog up called Untapped, and you can see it's almost completely disassociated from their website. That it stood on its own, and yet all the things you see on the left are things that good content practice has you do. Whether you unify it around a brand name like Untapped, or you're doing it with a blog and email marketing and all the other things. So there's a lot of leverage you get by concentrating your content under a content hub. Now this one launched, we had a build up to a launch. We put on a webinar at launch and promoted the heck out of it. And we got 300 leads at the launch, which far exceeded their expectations. Both of these sites I showed you are still up and running, even though the CMO has changed and they've gone through a transaction where the company's been sold. So it just shows you how sticky a content hub can be. And out of the experience, I wrote a book, created a company, and have really documented a methodology that we can train people. The book will be available for free on January 28th on Amazon, And I'll be glad to send out an email to people with a link to that. But it's a quick Saturday morning read, and it really sort of has a who moved my cheese kind of feel to it, where, you know, it'll give you a perspective. And I've been told many times over the last 18 months, you know, it's a great primer for people on your team. I'm working with a company now, everybody in the company is reading it, because it just provides a framework for thinking about doing this. And marketers often have a hard time explaining the business side of why they're doing what they're doing. And this is really designed, what I'm showing today is really designed to help marketers integrate what they're doing into the business side of it, and to set goals that are in alignment with senior management. And of course, it's also in alignment with Google. I have begun explaining to people that Google is like a tennis coach that will tell you to keep your eye on the ball and follow through. And every time your ball goes off into the weeds, they tell you that those are the reasons. And if you do that, you'll get your shot to go where you want it to go. And Google spent billions of dollars on developing algorithms, and MIT professors that are understanding the content that you produce. And if you're writing for your human audience and you're using Google as a metric, you're going to hit a home run with your human audience. The interesting thing, I've been doing this content marketing, as I said, for several years. It's really starting to evolve and gain traction. So 70% of companies are now saying that they're improving year over year on their content marketing, and SEO is a big part of that. Also, they're now more than ever looking to improve their ROI. It is a key challenge, and it's been moved up from engagement this is a year over year perspective, 1999 versus 2020. All this information comes from SEMrush, but really is a big focus is on generating results. And finally, that content development is coming in-house. And just like the move from agency to in-house external agency to in-house agency, the infrastructure to do content development is maturing. And I think we'll do even more so when we look at it in a year from now. You know, content publishing is for business people, and publishing has always been a legitimate path to wealth creation. You build an audience and you monetize it. In traditional publishing, which was actually a model developed by Ben Franklin, it's to rent that audience to an advertiser, sponsor, event participant. And today we're looking to, instead of monetize it by selling an ad, it's knowing the value of a lead in your funnel and being able to do the demand planning. So you build an audience of the appropriate size, attract them, and then have all kinds of opportunities for them to become a lead and a customer. And our audience is now more digital than ever. And we need to understand that the external culture is moving this way, as is our internal culture at our companies, and we need to get them in alignment. And we also need to focus. And it's not the 4 billion people on the internet, it's the 50 people or the 500 people, 5,000 or 50,000 people that you need to attract to grow your company and achieve your goals this year. So it's all about focusing and writing to just those people, producing videos to just those people, and so forth. And so the way that I came up with this, this is I call it the publisher's MO. This is the way, if you were going to start a publication, you were Malcolm Forbes, you'd want to cover these 7 elements in building your publication, your media company, your media property. And it's a North Star idea that's really in alignment and connects with your audience, like chief packaging officer. You know, for that audience, it really hit a home run. It showed the value and the connection between Kodak and packaging people. You need to have an editorial strategy and calendar, and from that you can assign resources and manage content production as a business process. You need to publish and promote that content. You need distribution for it. And that's not only on social media, but also through the events and community areas that you practice. The interesting thing about community is it's also a source of content for you. If you have a program where you've got a very high-end blog that's recognized for its value, when you approach people and say, I'd like to write an article and get a quote from you, it's a lot different conversation than going up to somebody in an event or online and saying, would you see my sales presentation? So it's a very strong way to build relationships by being a publisher in your industry.
You're at the 5-minute mark, so you have 5 minutes left. Do you want to switch to Q&A, or do you want to just keep moving?
I will switch to Q&A. I'm just about wrapping up here. So this is a model that I've been out working with clients on, and I'm really pleased with the opportunity to share it with you. Thank you.
Okay, so do we have any questions in the chat?
I was just going to ask, actually. So it really appears from what you're talking about that a lot of the eyeballs that come onto this content come from search results and organic search. Is that correct?
Well, that's the starting point, and organic is really risen to a barometer of how good your content. If it's going to show on Google, then you also will have a high probability that your audience will react well to it, whether you're sharing on social or advertising or white paper or what have you. The goal is on all of these is to get people to come back to your hub. It's, as I said, a hub and spoke model. And
it sounds like there's multiple channels that you're using.
It is multi-channel, and you know, Jason Kramer's on the line here. One of the most important elements of this is the marketing automation in that content model, because that essentially enables you to have your, what would be the equivalent of Nielsen data to show how your content is playing with the audience, who's responding to it, and which of that content is driving sales. So SharpSpring, I've been doing a lot of work with Jason recently, and it's pretty amazing as to how it pulls data in from other systems through the API and then builds a unified view of your content so you can do attribution and ROI all within SharpSpring.
I have a question. With Kodak, did they look at sort of what it would cost to get the same exposure on advertising versus having their own publication? And you know, that sort of trade-off, because obviously you could advertise, although it probably doesn't pull as much weight because it seems less editorial.
They didn't, but you know, if you're producing content that's for your audience, whether it's a consumer on how to put your makeup on and look great, or it's a B2B purchase and they've got to you know, present to a management committee. If you're providing the content that's, you know, straightforward, helpful, informative, and in some cases entertaining, you're building an asset that pays over time, much like a windmill has a startup cost and a maintenance cost, and then, you know, a useful life. Your content put online can have the same kind of analysis. You know, a good content site costs a fraction of what one ad costs for a brand if they're doing media buys.
Cool. 1 minute left. Any other questions?
I just want to quickly say, if I can, so you know, if you, for those of you who haven't seen the Cultivize website, that's Keith's team's work that we worked on over the summer. He's been an asset to our content strategy for 2021, and really looks at, you know, the big picture of things, which is why we started working together. So I just want to kind of give that as a testimonial, but also—
What's the website address?
I'll put it in the chat.
Cool.
Yeah.
And we, you know, we went, Jason had his Starter 1.0 website that was very much a sales, you know, brochure kind of website. And now it's evolved into a blog with a perspective. We positioned him as, you know, the big idea was he's a coach, not a software vendor. And it, you know, I let Jason speak for the results, but it was a lot of fun working with him.
So are you basically saying that you're a content architect for a brand to come up with a a messaging strategy for the big picture and then actually decide and deploy the types of content that they need, whether it's blogs, infographics, videos, whatever it is. But you're the architect, and you may even create the content too. And that's how
And
you
put it
position
into a
yourself.
system that's going to achieve their goals, right?
Right.
So because it's built on a marketing automation system, you have all the workflows, all the sequencing of content planned out. You're working with a sales team to provide them training on how to use it. You have gotten the ROI model with your senior team. If you're working in a company or you're an entrepreneur, you have, based on your own traffic to leads as opportunities to sales, you map out the demand generation and can figure out, well, how much advertising, how much promotion would it take us to drive this kind of audience that we need to achieve our goals?
Okay, last question before we use up your time. What's your price points?
So if it's consulting, I've been charging $150 to $300 an hour. But as a turnkey deliverable, we have a package where we do market research, SEO, and then strategy development. And we've been charging $20,000 for it. And I've been doing some research, and I think we could even go higher than that for larger companies.
Over what period of time?
It takes 8 weeks to develop a strategy.
Interesting. Okay.
What's a good customer for you? Just last sentence or two. What's the best customer? Who do you help the most?
Companies that have had their content build up over time. They may have had a chain of people working for the company, and they just keep adding to what they've done for a long time, and they know it's not delivering the messaging they need or the results they need. Companies that are spending $80,000 a year on advertising and have no way of doing attribution. Companies that want to make a splash in their marketplace and have a voice. We collaborate with our clients to develop.
So is this Cultivize link on your platform or is separate?
Cultivize is Jason's website.
Okay, so we're okay.
And he was my client.
So, okay, got it. Thanks.
All right, let's move on.
Thank you.
Actually, unfortunately, John had to jump. Jason has to jump soon too. So I'll give you 2 minutes. Does that work? Why don't we give everybody 2 minutes? And Jason, you are on.
All right, thanks, Keith. Keith, well, thank you for the kind words, and Michael, thank you for always putting this together. So Jason Kramer, I'm the owner of Cultivize. We provide a consulting, coaching, strategy, and implementation service for companies that don't have the ability or tech stack to nurture their leads. So the ideal client for us is a B2B or direct-to-consumer business brand that's spending typically $30,000 to $50,000 a year or more on inbound marketing with someone else, not us. We do not do lead gen. But where they struggle is they don't have a process and a system to nurture and educate the leads through the pipeline. So we help both the marketing team and the sales team pull all the data together and give them a resource and tools and strategy to make their acquisition cost of lead gen as ideal as possible to prove ROI. Cool.
Best leads, you have another minute.
Sure. So best leads are companies, like I said, that are doing 30 to 50K a year as a marketing spend. They have a sales team of 2 to 40 people. They're selling something usually a little bit more pricey, a few $1,000s to millions of dollars in terms of a deliverable. And professional services, manufacturers, distributors, e-commerce websites are a great fit for us if they do a large volume. So those are just a few examples of the types of companies we work with.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I just dropped.
About working with Jason was that we have the same customer base.
That's cool. I just put in the chat the order of the remaining presentations. So Rajiv, then Jason Cement, then Audrey, and then you can see the rest if you go into the chat.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, hi everyone. Nice to see you all. For those that I haven't met yet, please scroll through the chat to find my blurb that I pasted in, to connect with me on LinkedIn, as well as to click my Calendly links so that you can schedule a one-on-one with me so that we can get better acquainted, to explore synergies. What do I do? We, like you might have noticed from my name on Zoom that I just modified, we delete stuff from Google. We delete bad press and one-star reviews from Google. That's one service that we're known slightly more for. And we offer a success guarantee, which means that if the link is not deleted in our forecasted time frame, you get your money back, no questions asked. And clients like that. They like that they can speak to a face, a human face, that's in their same time zone for the most part. And that's nice, as opposed to other services that don't have that same degree of comfort, where it's mostly just on email and you don't know if the person on the other end is going to take your money and run, or what your recourse is if that happens, and all that. So my ask is for introductions with other digital marketers, as well as people in PR, as well as people in campaign planning for politicians, as well, or people that do crisis communication, broadly speaking. So it could be either on the marketing side, PR side, or legal side. You know, in one of those, like this crosses over crisis communication usually. And my give is, if you'll connect with me via LinkedIn, I'll be happy to give you some tips, tricks, cheats, and hacks on how to optimize your LinkedIn to make it work for you while you sleep. Rajiv Jadhav, R Square Media, be seen or not be seen. Thank you.
Jason Cement, you are up. Thank you, Rod.
I like that, be seen or not be seen. We almost bought Be Visible, but we bought Get Visible instead. So very close to that. So my agency has about 15 people in it. We do digital marketing, and it's called Get Visible. We've come up with a new phrase to describe what we do. It's called transcendent marketing. It's based on 3 principles, which are transform, transcend, and transact. And the idea is that we transform a brand by creating a new web experience, whether it's WordPress or an e-commerce one, where we use Shopify or Magento or a homegrown solution called Adricom that Michael knows about. And then we do transcendence, which is to move you ahead of your competition, which could be search engine rankings, better ads where you actually pay less but still get higher listing in Google, so your performance is better. Or it could be content creation, which is why I was interested in Keith's concept, because we're creating content, but it's more at the root level, not at the big picture level. I think maybe we are, I just don't think it's the same. And it's more tactical, I think. And then we also are creating social media posts and stuff like that and getting awareness. And we work a lot. We have 6 teams. Each team has 2 people on it. So we always have some backup. And then we have myself and my partner on top and 1 person in the middle. And we do a lot of work with service providers, specifically with law firms and healthcare people like surgeons, where they're competing for patients. We have a whole e-commerce side of our client base. And then we just have normal businesses that don't fit into any category. And I've been online since '96 when I graduated law school. First I was a CPA, then a lawyer, and started this about 15 years ago. And I even wrote a book called I Need More Clients. That's my give. If you email me, I'll send you a copy, a PDF version you can have for free. So it's a step-by-step on how to get more clients online. So thank you.
Good timing. Okay. Audrey Glover-Dichter.
Hi, everybody. I'm an attorney, and I am an attorney who helps businesses protect themselves from their own websites to minimize legal risk for potential lawsuits arising out of your website for false and misleading advertising or intellectual property issues, like, if you infringe on somebody's IP, privacy violations, or ADA noncompliance. So I help you by being legally compliant. I review your website. Of course, I am an attorney that I focus on advertising, marketing, promotions law. So when I review your campaign, of course, I'm reviewing your website. And your website, if you have one, technically you're advertising nationally and internationally. So you need to be legally compliant with federal law. Obviously, you need to be compliant with state law as well. But for privacy, it's so convoluted because you need to be worried about who's on the other side of your website versus uh, instead of where you are located, because depending on who's on the other side of your website depends on the privacy law that may be triggered. So, and there's been a very big uptick on ADA non-compliance of websites. So I help you be legally compliant. I draft all the legalese that you need to be legally compliant. And then I help, I work with your tech in order to see how we can make that happen in the back end. My give is I offer a 30-minute legal consultation for free to help, go through the website or whatever other issues you may have. If you have any IP that needs to be protected or any other questions you may have. And technically my best clients would be any of you, an agency who has clients who needs their marketing reviewed before it goes public, because per FTC law, you need to be legally compliant before you launch your marketing publicly. So Audrey Glover-Dictor, reach out to me. I put my LinkedIn on the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. Mark Tebow.
Hello, good afternoon. I actually had a conversation with Jason this morning, and actually we came to the conclusion that he could really use some people in the construction field and HVAC. Both of those have the right size player for him, and I think it would work. So we're going to work on that. But anyway, what I do is I do pre-branding. So basically I do positioning, I do competitive analysis, I do market trending, and I do it for private equity groups, but I would prefer to do it more for private clients. So I'm also working on a few things for this group, and hopefully that will come through. But really what we do is, my best clients are probably attorneys and CPAs, because they can get me to private clients, they can get me to the private equity groups. And really, that's what I do in a nutshell.
Wonderful. And based in Southern Florida.
Yes, I am. Beautiful
Okay.
Southern Florida. Beautiful, just south of Palm Beach County, home of.
That's
President.
not South Florida. Miami Beach is South Florida.
All right,
That's where I grew up.
Bryce, you are up.
Thanks, Michael. Pleasure to be here again. And yeah, it seems like everybody really likes Jason. I certainly do. Yeah, so Mind of a Marketer is kind of a unique marketing company because we basically kind of consider ourselves like Batman's belt. So what would Batman be without his belt to whip out a solution and solve some problem that he's got to deal with? And so that's kind of how we portray ourselves to our strategic partners, is that we supply other marketing companies with some unique solutions to fill gaps in their offerings. And kind of one of the focuses for us this year is going to be enterprise level clients. We basically stumbled upon a digital gold rush that I'm going to be doing a presentation about next week. And that's going to be our main focus. So what do we do basically? And we kind of follow a similar idea to Rajiv in that, we help people get found on the internet. We don't do the not getting found part, so talk to him for that. But our main focus is, if you can't be found by your target market, they can't buy from you. So a lot of our solutions revolve around that idea. And we have some unique technologies that we kind of developed over 2020. And so 2021 is going to be all about scaling and taking everything to the next level. So if you guys have enterprise level clients that spend over $100,000 in ad spend, like PPC, specifically Google AdWords, you'll probably want to talk to me about that, because we basically have a product that just prints money. and it's pretty amazing. It's kind of a game changer for the industry, and so we're keeping it pretty hush hush. So next week I'm going to do a presentation about it, and we're looking for strategic partners. So if you're interested, reach out to me. I left my my email up there, and I'll leave my LinkedIn as well. Thanks.
And I will note in the in my newsletter that Bryce will be presenting, but we will not be recording it because it is hush hush.
Yeah.
And so if you want to hear about it, you got to show up. Okay. And that was your timer, so that's good. Keith, you've gone. Scott Lang, you up? Scott, you around still? Scott drop off.
He wrote earlier that a client called in and he had to grab the call.
Okay, Raul and then Rachel. Raul, you're still here? Rachel, did Raul jump off too? There he is. Raul, you're on mute. You're on mute.
No, he's here. He's here.
Yeah, but you're on mute, Raul.
Can you hear me
There he
now?
goes. Yeah, go ahead. You're up.
Stuff going up on my screen. So I have a consultancy and I work mainly as a digital strategist. So I work with companies to help them define and implement a digital strategy as it relates to their overall business. So that means a lot of things, but it usually starts with a competitive analysis of the market and coming up with a digital strategy from that, and which often might mean a new website or changing the website, and then looking at their whole sort of ecosystem of how they're appearing digitally. So that goes everything from, you know, SEO, SEM, it goes into their email marketing, it goes into their blogging, it goes into video. So whatever, you know, based on the client's business. I have my own developers for like website stuff, but I usually hire people or other consultants for, say, the competitive analysis, or if it's an email marketing or a blogging play, or writers. So those are all sort of vendors or people that I'm happy to work with for those projects. I usually enjoy the luxury market. That's sort of my background, luxury space, but really any any business. The way I'm working now is really small to medium size. If it's bigger, I usually partner with that agency or give it to them. Really, I like this lifestyle this way. I came from the agency world, and I don't want to go back to that large stuff. But so I can. I'm happy to help get guys work and work with people, and really any business vertical. I like the luxury space, but any vertical will work.
Wonderful. Thank you, Raul. And Rachel, you're up.
Hello, everybody. Rachel Saunders. I am with a company called Amplifier. I actually did the spotlight last, so if you were there, you hopefully heard my pitch. We are in and of ourselves a startup. We're a group of very seasoned digital marketers, and we are a consultancy rep firm hybrid that works with early to mid-stage startups focused in the ad tech and martech space. We are looking to acquire probably 2 or 3 new clients this year. And if we're looking at the smaller, early stage startups, our role would be a CRO type of position. For the mid-stage startups, we really are able to come in and kind of supercharge whatever sales force is already there. We've got a lot. I focused my most recent presentation on some of our partners and their really innovative and cool technologies. That is table stakes for us. The technologies that we represent have to have differentiation and innovation at their core. And I'm fairly new to the group and looking to get to know all of you much better and looking to share leads and prospects and hopefully business.
Very good. Thank you. So yeah, Amplifier does something similar to what we as a group are doing in representing the 3 clients that we have. We don't have any retainers that we get paid, but we get a commission if we bring in a lead that closes.
I'm David Cutler. The David Cutler Network is what I am. I represent lots of other companies that help with sales and marketing. So I kind of finished the conversation between Rachel and Mike and some of the other guys, where I'm actually doing the B2B tech salesperson. I don't know. I'm kind of like Alfred. Remember Batman and Robin? I'm Alfred to salespeople. So I have decades of experience as a sales consultant, marketer, promoter. I help B2B salespeople build person-to-person momentum. So it's not the machines that Rachel's working on. It's when there is a human being talking to another complex sale human being, I help those human beings communicate better. So finding the right prospects, closing more deals. So I'm kind of like a business developer that has experience at Fortune 500 companies where I've worked at, but also with startups. So I have a lot of time, I spend a lot of time in between those two at innovation labs and R&D departments, making connections and partnerships between the corporation and the startups. That's where the pirates are, in these innovation labs. That's where the fun is. That's where the progress gets to happen. So I'd love to be kind of the concierge or the doorman, the mensch in between at those locations. So I spend a lot of my time with large companies in their innovation labs, having them actually pay off, because again, my goal is somebody selling something. And that's what makes CEOs happy about spending money in these innovation labs. So one way to look at it is to help salespeople tell a better story and be bold in how they present it. So I think that's important these days. I enable, empower salespeople with tools and techniques to find the problem, solve the problem. So it's really not necessarily theoretical, it's more situational. That's kind of my vibe, trying to be very personal and casual, but also real. So the give would be, I have a 20-minute session that I do all the time on Zoom, just digging into any of yours or any of your best friends, prospects they want to get. And let's just talk about ideas of what they could be doing to actually open those doors or get momentum inside the halls of those companies. And I'll do it for anyone in TRN, but I'll do that regularly anyway. And so my ask is small B2B companies with a disruptive technology would be even better, because that's more fun. Could be a startup or a department at any size company entering a new market, but really they need to have an appetite for my trusted challenger attitude, where I earn with jocularity and just enough sense of humor to give you the shit you deserve to sell more stuff.
Okay. I will give myself 2 minutes now. So as you know, I'm Michael Bendit. My company, Software Development Resources, is a rep firm. It's a commission-only rep firm, and I work with small boutique software development teams. And most of the work that I do is with these teams that are what I call dual shore teams. So they've got some people here in the US, but most of their resources are offshore. And the areas that I work with offshore tend to be Eastern Europe, South America, and South Asia. And obviously there's different cost structures in each of those areas, different benefits. Of course, if you're in South America or Central America, you're time zone aligned. South Asia tends to be less expensive. Eastern Europe tends to be, you really have these, very high level engineering skills, in particular in Eastern Europe and Russia and Ukraine in particular. And then each of those teams sort of specializes in a different area of technology. So whether it's e-commerce or basic websites or mobile or certain platforms, because the world of technology is so broad, the teams that I represent are relatively small. They need to be specialized. And really good leads for me are digital marketing agencies, because a lot of them don't have those skills in-house. So something might come over the transom that they just have never done before, or they don't have the depth, the technical depth to take on themselves. So they need to partner with somebody. And that's my dog. She's commenting. Quiet, you.
What's a typical scope of your engagements?
They range. A lot of the work that I do with small agencies can be, WordPress projects that are, $2,000 to $5,000. And then, bigger stuff can go all the way up to $250,000. I would say sort of the sweet spot is 15 to 40.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. I think I'm going to take a little bit of time, and again, I apologize for the dog in the background, to actually share my screen with trustref.net. So the site has launched. Some of you may have already, share screen, there it is. Some of you may have already signed on and taken your control of your listing and your account. Actually, I'm going to log out and log in as myself, because this is the back end and you don't want to see that, or it's not relevant to you. But I do have an account as Software Development Resources, and that shows up here. So I'm a user. Okay, so once you log in, once you take over your account, you'll get this user menu, and you can check out your profile, which I'll show you very quickly. And it's got everybody already has a profile, but you need to take ownership of it. You need to put your own password in there, and I have instructions for how to do that. If you go to help, there's an account setup guide that explains everything. It also has a link to a video tutorial. So that'll help you through all the steps. So most of you will be claiming your account and then completing your profile. There is a step in here for setting up a new account, but you already, as a member, you already have an account. And the other thing that you'll want to do is update your listing. So under help, there's a listing guideline or a listing guide, which takes you through all the steps to update your listing. And what is a listing? So I'll show you what my listing looks like.
I added mine the other day too.
Oh, cool. Okay.
There's no category for marketing.
It's all marketing. So marketing and sales is is the category. We do have a couple of sponsors. So Audrey is in the legal space, right, under sponsors. Marketing and sales, here's all the categories, right? I happen to fall under web development. There's two of us right now, web and mobile, myself and Atiba. And if you just click on either this or the link button, it'll go to my page. And you can add a hero image like this. The default is going to be the logo that I already put up for you. And it'll be sort of stretched because, it's a smaller image. And then you could customize it. So a blurb, this is obviously the listing type, the location. You could specify up to 3 industries that you focus on. So I put B2B services, retail and e-commerce, and technology and telecom. Number of employees, average project size. So I mentioned earlier, our sweet spot is sort of in the 15 to 40, and I put in 20 there. And then I will pay a referral fee to anybody in this network of 5% who brings a deal to me. And you can decide what your referral fee is. If you don't pay a referral fee, you put in 0. A little map. Question?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm on it and I was having a hard time. Like how do you edit
this? Okay. So you see first of all, it's all explained under listing guide.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So if you go to this menu, which is your own, your account menu, and you go to my listings. All right, there's everybody's got one listing. Here's the edit button, right? And I'll show you what that looks like behind the scenes. You can change any of this stuff. It does need to get approved, so it will take a cycle to get it approved, but you'll want to do this, right? You'll want to, if you want to change your listing type, your sub-listing type, if you want to change the title, it really should be the name of your company. The blurb here, the industry focus, number of employees, average project size, standard referral fee. If you qualify in any of these categories, like an MWBE certified or HIPAA certified or GSA qualified, those are things you could add. You could add keyword tags, right? Whatever you think is relevant. I have Magento, Shopify, and WordPress. Location, United States Northeast, and then you put in the address. And last, you upload a header image. That's the one that's going to show the hero image on your page. And then this is the logo here. And then everybody gets a 6-month free trial. After which, if you are an active member and you show up in meetings and you generate 1 lead every 6 months, that results in a meeting with one of our clients, you can continue to do this trial forever, for as long as you retain that sort of status. But there'll also be an upgrade option too. Under About Us, you'll see, I will be having an upgrade option, which will be essentially $30 a month. There's $180 for 6 months. If you're a member and have that, you'll actually be featured. So you get sort of priority over everybody. And
Michael, just to add a note that if you're pending approval, which I am, all your editing capabilities are taken away. So obviously, if it's pending, you can't edit. So I don't know if that's an issue, because that button isn't there for me.
Yeah, well, I have to approve it, and then you'll be able to edit it again, but it goes back to that pending mode.
Right.
Okay. So I'm probably behind on editing. So
I just know, Audrey, if you had done any editing, that would take away your, if you had made any changes, it takes away your editing capabilities for a minute until
it does. Yeah. All right. So there's a bunch, actually, I didn't even realize this. So I have a bunch that have Cultivize has been submitted for approval and a bunch of others. So I will go through those and submit and get you
Mike,
guys
we
approved.
just do what we're told. Okay, dude. You say jump and we say, who the fuck are you?
All right, good. So listen, if you have questions, please reach out. I'm here to help. And, I want to make this as vibrant and as useful for all the members as possible. Always looking for more members, particularly outside of the New York area, because I'm heavily concentrated in New York. If you go to, for example, hold on, if you click the region, so if I go to mine and I click the region, US Northeast, it'll show you a list of everybody who's in the US Northeast, and you can see it's 7 pages.
Do you regularly send out stuff that we can share with our network? I mean, I see stuff once in a while, but do you actually say, hey, share this? I mean, is that something that you're actively doing? Because it helps us, because I again, no kidding aside, you say something and I'd happy to do it for you, but if you have to kind of poke us with it instead of us
one thing I want to do is set up one-on-ones. Now that I've got this set up, help you with it, help you customize it, but also start thinking about leads, right, for the clients that we have. And I also have in here under About Us, our network clients. So there's a page on who our network clients are. So Brand Maker, Solo Segment, Signal Insights, and also about membership. What is it? What are the benefits of being a member? What are the requirements of being a member or sponsor, for that matter? So go through this. I also have a FAQ. I tried to put together something that I thought would be useful. So hopefully it'll answer a lot of questions, and play around with it. And I want to make it, as I said, as valuable to you as I can.